Yeah, so anywhere you want to, if you have a lecture or whatever, it's up to you.
It's up to you, Forrest.
Oh, okay. It's on my shoulders, huh?
Well,
Yeah,
you're not without help. I mean, if you,
Well, no, I understand that, but it's just, it's funny. That's all.
yeah, it's you know, if we find if we find a person who wants to lecture, any of us, we'll forward you the info.
Oh, no problem. I've got some things in the works, but yeah, I'm always open for suggestions there. So definitely.
it's all you now, Forrest.
Oh, okay, so we're transitioning over to the show and tell time.
Yeah,
All right. Well, most excellent. Okay.
unless you had some other agenda item you wanted like to do. I mean, you know, your that you had your whatever agenda before the show and tell, if you wanted to do something like whatever the robots in the news or whatever you want, then otherwise.
Just for the sake of everybody here, because I know sort of coming into it, I sort of came in the middle of a conversation, and I wasn't sure. It was about animatronics. That's the best I could sort of gather, and the gentleman speaking was very excited about that, and so we don't want to curb that enthusiasm. That's the first thing. Second of all, is that sorry, I'm going to be gesticulating all over the place. So if I start moving, just don't worry about me. That's just me. But the other thing is that the leadership of each club and the clubs represented here tonight, if you could sort of just sound off, I mean, starting with the hosts, not us, the tech room, because I'm wearing my tech room shirt. You can't see that too well, but there you go. There we are. I don't know if everybody can see that, but if you can, yes, that's me. I'm Forrest. I'm what you would call the chief lead officer. That's the way I sort of look at it. The second man in command after me, should I go off the deep end or just sort of go off on a robot sabbatical, is Phil McCary. He's over down in the center square almost, right below you, Jim, and as far as my screen's concerned. The other two people who aren't pictured are appearing, as far as I can tell, is Brian, and he's sort of like our software guy. We owed him with our software questions. And the other person is Catherine Orho. So I messed her last name up, but she sort of helps with the PR and the networking and all the other stuff. So together we make up the leadership group, and that's how we sort of run our group. Now, I'm not sure who's the leadership in the Long Beach Club. Sorry, I mean I do, but it's Jim and Ben. They just sort of change roles now. And
Yeah, we're for this year. I'm going to be president. He's going to be VP. Alan's going to do secretary. Well, continue with what he's been doing, and then Ron Rose is still going to be our treasurer, and then Britt B is going to be going to do some outreach, our outreach representative.
All righty. And now for the Riverside Robotics Club leadership is Thomas and Alan, and the secretary is Ellie. All right. So, and for the, is there the Homebrew Robotics Club represented here?
There's two of us here, is Chris Mayer and myself.
Oh, okay. And do you hold an officer's position or a lead office, lead role?
I do not. I'll let Chris speak.
No, okay.
Yeah, I was the president last year. This year, I am the sergeant at arms. The new president is Camp Peavy.
Okay.
And we just had our elections and our November meeting.
Oh, most excellent. Well, to everybody here and those who are just members of the clubs, welcome aboard and welcome to the multi-club meeting. So right off the bat, we'll be taking down some lists for, yes. We will be taking a list of people who will be wanting to show off some items. And if so, just if you could, there's a reaction bar down below where you can actually do your hand raising. It's under reactions where you can do your hand raising, such demonstrated, i.e. hand clap, or we can do thumbs up. I'm sure everybody's been seeing this, but I'll just sort of go through it anyhow, just real quick. Yes, as you can see. So if you have something to show, either use the chat box or you can just raise your hand and we'll go from there. But from the short list that I was listening to and cluing in on, now, Thomas, you had something to show?
Carl, Thomas, you're muted.
Yeah, I have a few things to show. I have 3 things to show. Santa Claus came around Christmas and I got a couple new gifts and I wanted to show those off.
Me
I'm gonna
too.
ask my daughter to help me show them off, my daughter and my niece. So I'm gonna call them into the room. Here, let me take off the background.
All right.
Well, just to summarize, we got Carl Sutter also wants to, has a Gorilla Bot to demo.
Okay. And Lesh had something too.
I had something.
Okay, you
Mitch
did.
and Walter also.
Oh, did Walters?
Yeah, Mitch and Walter.
Mitch and Walter. Okay.
I didn't see the chat goes by fast. You can't even.
Yes. All right. So, okay, what we'll do is while Thomas is getting ready, I'll just give a quick rundown. It's Thomas and Lesh would be second from what I'm gathering. And then we'll go to Carl from there. If that's okay with everybody, and unless they have something they're just dying to show up with.
I'll go after or whatever. It doesn't matter.
Okay, well, I've got you after Carl, Jim, if that's all right.
Okay.
So, and then it'll be Walter and Mitch. Does that sound good to you guys?
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
All right. All righty.
Yeah.
Most excellent. Okay, then, Thomas, you have the floor. You're muted
Oh,
again.
You're muted.
Again, yes. The first thing we're gonna show are my Sumo Bot toys. This is Sumo Bots like you haven't seen them before unless you have the same ones. And we have 2 volunteers here. We have Maya. Say hello, Maya. Hi. And we have Sammy, little Sammy over there. And they're gonna compete with these Sumo Bots.
All right.
So the idea is to knock your Sumo Bot over to win. All right, ready? Ready, set, begin. All right. Oh, Sammy. All right, round 2. Okay, go. Oh, why don't you catch it before it goes off the table? All right. So that was the Sumo Bots. Who makes those, Maya? I have no. Look on the bottom. Some company makes these. If somebody wants to figure out who makes these and post it, please do. One of the cool things about it is if you have no one to fight against, the robot goes into autonomous mode and will fight you. Can you, I want Sammy, you play by yourself. Maya, put down your remote. Okay, go ahead, Sammy. I won't say it worked at home. Yes, the autonomous mode is not working. Perhaps if you turn it on and off again. Okay, go ahead, autonomous mode. Perhaps not, maybe another day. Okay. Next thing I want to show you is battle bots. These are battle bots based on the TV robots. I don't think they sell, can you shut that off, Maya, please? I don't think they sell Walter's battle bot, but here's two of them that have been on TV, models of them. They're about 3 and 4 inches wide. And this one has a weapon capability of a spinning hammer. And this one has a giant hammer that slams it. And I'm gonna let my two people here demonstrate these for you. I take them on the floor, Maya. Yeah, sure. You gotta turn them on and sync them. Turn them on. Turn it upside down. Okay, and this one? Test it, make sure it's working.
I'm the giant hammer.
Okay, you can have the giant hammer.
And the small hammer.
Yes. Maya, can you make sure they're both working? And they have parts that fall off just for the fun of it. Okay, go ahead. Ready? Begin. Fight. I think they're synced to the same remote.
Yeah, there's something the same one.
Well, you know, so much for that. Show them the weapon. Then you put it down so you can see the weapon. Go ahead, get the weapon.
Sammy, push the button at the top. Right here, push the button at the top. What was here?
Okay.
It's synced to the same one.
Hit the weapon. There's the weapon. Go ahead.
Don't put your hands on me.
All right. Thank you, ladies. Thank you very much.
Here.
I have a third thing to show, but I'm not ready for that. So Forrest, if you can just move it to the next person, I'll show my third thing later.
All righty.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Thomas.
Thank you.
Whoops. There we go. And we'll go on to the next person who is Lesh, L-E-S-H. Am I saying that right? Lesh? Whoops, you're muted here. Hold on. You're muted, Lesh.
Just less.
Les.
Less.
Thank you.
Howard.
Thank you. Les. Sorry about that. I apologize.
H for Howard, right?
Yes, it's Howard.
And he is muted, so.
We can't hear you, Les.
Had it unmuted and I muted it.
Yeah.
There we go. That's better. Thank you.
I have a relative who's Jewish, so I made them a Hanukkah. What happened? Did you lose me?
No, I hear you.
Still there. I hear you.
Coolness.
You're back.
So the reason I'm showing this is because the trick of making it was pretty neat. I didn't draw equilateral triangles. What I did was in OpenSCAD, I used the circle and told it to use 3 instead of the usual 50 or 60 to make the circle. And so it made my equilateral triangles, and I just joined 2 of them together to make the Jewish star, the Star of David. And I put it on a plastic circle to cover the wiring in the back, which can't really see it, I guess, with the light on it. But it's just Christmas lights that are poked through holes in the back. And the top is just a plastic cover that slides over it. It's a little sticky to get off because I've got it very close to tolerances. but, well, I'm not gonna be able to get it off by myself. Takes about, oh, there it comes. Usually takes me a second person to hold it down flat. But the trick was to make them just a little bit different in size. And I used a separate set of the star to make the cutout. No, I'm not going to be able to get it off to myself. I thought I had it. Oh, well, but that tells you how close the tolerances are. So it's a neat thing. I made this in pink because pink's what I had on the thing for the prototype. And then I ordered blue because blue's kind of the color the Jewish people use. But the trick I wanted to show you, and what I'm going to do is post the OpenSCAD files so that you can look at it. But that trick of using a circle to create some other shape is, I thought was a pretty neat trick that I came up with. So anyway, just thought it would be interesting for people because you always like to have lights on your robots anyway, and having badges and stuff is pretty neat.
So it was 3D printed, right?
Yes, 3D printed.
And with OpenSCAD, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I got a gem. Oh, well. It's because it's such an odd shape, it is difficult to put the two pieces together. But you could make the tolerances a little wider and it would slip on and off a little easier. That's it for me.
Well, thank you, Les. That's nice. Any questions? Anyone? Well, I have a question. How long did it take you to do that, Les?
I print at pretty fine layers. So the print for the bottom part was about 13 hours, I think, and the top part was about 7. And I printed it slowly because I wasn't sure what I was doing. I wanted to make sure it stayed flat and straight because I've never printed something that's that narrow in the dimensions before that I had to fit together. So I wasn't sure how the printer would do on that close a tolerance for something this complex.
Okay.
I just wanted to comment that pink is good.
What's the material, Les? Is that PLA?
It's PLA. I'm printing almost everything in PLA. I've tried some, what's the other stuff that's supposed to be food safe? PETG. Boy, I had a mess with that. That's really tough to get rid of the strings. And,
That's good to know.
Me too.
Yeah.
I gave up on that. I have done ABS before, but I didn't really want to do this in ABS because I wasn't sure how the tolerances are, and ABS has a little bit different shrinkage rate than the PLA does.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, for the fitting, for the two pieces that fit, was that it's always a challenge. It seems to what I've done it to make mating pieces that you have to, decide how much smaller you want it to make the one that goes in, and it usually takes multiple prints, but.
This was my 3rd attempt.
Excellent. Not bad.
Actually, the first print was just the triangle, and I did that so I could try the light spacing. And I have a 20 string set of lights there, and I put all the holes in the first triangle, and I thought that's not going to work. So I had to redo the holes by hand, which I would have much preferred to have used an algorithm, but I just couldn't figure out how to do it so it would get in all the right places. If any of you are a good math whiz, maybe you can figure that out.
Oh, math. Wonderful. Any more questions for Les, or going once, going twice?
Les,
Oh,
Les, can you show me that again? I was distracted over there with the young ladies.
Well, I can't get it all back together, but that's what it looks like.
Oh, very nice.
And it printed pretty well. I was actually kind of pleased with it. And the reason for the circle behind it is just to hide the wiring. So that was my trick. But I thought the idea of using 2 geometric shapes and gluing them together to get like a badge or something would be neat for robotics too. That's why I thought it would be worthwhile to show it on here.
Okay.
Thank you.
The other thing I would say, if you're going to do something like this for a tree decoration, don't use the Christmas tree wiring, because with the plastic and the wiring, it's just too heavy to put on the top of a tree. We tried.
Mm. Good job. Well,
You know, you could put a stiff coat hanger on it and wrap that around the tree going down, maybe paint it green and go down a couple, 2 or 3 feet, and maybe it'll stay up.
Yeah. Well,
Needs a
it's
little backbone.
It's a gift though, so I don't want to have them have a set of instructions to put it on. So
Oh, okay. Well, maybe
I'm gonna-
you can try next year.
yeah, I'm going to turn it into a table decoration. I'll make a thing for it to set up right on so they can set it on a mantle or something.
Neat. I enjoyed it.
definitely. Now we're going on to Carl, and then after Carl, it'll be Jim. So, all right, Carl, you now have the floor.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen and can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, great. I wasn't going to do this one. I'll do 2 quick ones, but since Les was doing Christmas decorations, I posted a link a few weeks ago on this on the board. But this was the project I did for the neighborhood, and these are candy cane shapes using WS2811, NeoPixel essentially, LEDs, and they're driven by a ESP8266 module, a D1 Mini. And basically that chip is essentially like a powerful Arduino, but it has Wi-Fi built in. So these 4 in the back here just have batteries on them, and there's 2 in the front yard. But basically I use a library called Painless Mesh, and they all talk to each other and synchronize the LED pattern. So this one pattern here you're seeing is one that shows the red color bounces around the green ones. And it went blank for a minute because it was going off to the neighbors. So what I did around October is I talked to a couple neighbors and said, I have either the geekiest idea or the coolest idea. What if we put these across the whole neighborhood? So they loved it, and they went around and sold it. So we have these candy canes up and down the block. There's about 17 in total, and they're all synchronized through the animation. So have to spread all around. So circuit's very simple. It's just like I said, a D1 Mini. And I have 99 of these WS2811 waterproof LEDs and just a power supply. So very simple. Fun little project. So that's all instructional. It's all documented. The code's there.
18?
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. You started out with 18. Did you have 18 at the end of the holiday season?
Yeah, actually, I had a couple extras. So 17 on the block, and then a couple neighbors on other streets asked to have them. So I gave them those. Theirs are too far away to sync. The Wi-Fi on a basic D1 Mini, it goes about 1 house width. And there was one house that was kind of separated from the other one a little further. So I was going out every night and doing a battery powered one just as a repeater node on the mesh to do that. But I since discovered for the D1 Mini, they come with a PCB kind of antenna. But they have something called a D1 Mini Pro, which has a ceramic antenna, and it also has a port for the U.FL, like a 2.4 gigahertz antenna. But you have to move a 0 ohm resistor or do a solder bridge, which is, for me, I have the soldering rig for that, but it's like a speck of dust. So I just unsoldered it and then did a solder bridge. So there was a couple houses that were a little further, but I think if I switch to the D1 Mini Pro just with the ceramic antenna and don't do the longer antenna, it'll work fine next year. I'm doing a test right now with another neighbor.
So it's kind of a mesh, you call it a mesh routing or
Yeah, they're mesh connected. So they're not connected to the internet for this project. I've done projects with internet connected LEDs and you do the typical IoT config, but this was spread around the neighborhood and there's no way I was going to get all of the neighbors to do an IoT config to their home network. So this is, it does set up, the painless mesh sets up its own, every node sets up its own access point. It sets up a web server. The messaging's all in JSON, although you don't really have to deal with any of that. It's a very easy to use library. But it creates its own Wi-Fi network around the neighborhood, which of course has nothing on it. I mean, I could have put a web server or something on it, but didn't really need it. So it's off the grid. You could take this whole thing out in the woods and it would work fine.
That's really cool. I've never used a network like that. That's really nice.
Well, as with all these projects, you're on the shoulders of giants, right? With the you know, just being able to use these libraries. So, and I use the
Yeah.
fast LED library.
Now, what was the heart of that chip again, Carl?
It's a chip from a company called Espressive, ES, you know, Expressive with an S, but it's called an ESP8266, and they've been around a while. And then, so the nice thing about that is all the libraries that you usually are used to for the Arduino have been ported already. This particular module is called a D1 Mini. It's from a company called Wemos, WEMOS. So,
Right.
and on the Instructable, there's a parts list, so all the links are there. So, you know, for everything you want to get. But that, yeah, that's the chip there, and yeah, so pretty easy to put together. If you look at some of my other projects, they're all very similar construction. We use a simple chip like that, and you know, the D1 Mini doesn't have a lot of I/O pins, but you know, when you're using digital LEDs, you just need the one pin.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Ton of info there. Anyway, it was really fun, you know, just walking up and down the street, you know, and a lot of people took their Christmas decorations down already. They left this up. So they still have their candy canes out because they don't want to let it go. Yeah, so it's really nice.
Very nice.
Was the timing difficult to get them? I mean, or do you send a pulse out to all of them start, you know, because you think there would be a little delay or propagation or something.
I think because it does, the mesh does pass it around, but it seems instantaneous to me. I mean, it's Wi-Fi. You know, my commands are just go to this animation step. You know, so the messages I'm sending are quite small, so they're propagating. I can't tell the difference just looking at it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Mm.
So it was done on a master-slave sort of configuration then?
Well, okay, that's a good question. So initially the mesh was, they were all equal partners, and what it would do is when you get a message when a new node is added to the mesh, and basically they would calculate which one's the controller. The idea with that one is that mesh nodes could fall on and off and it would still operate. It turns out that overhead over a spread out mesh caused problems. So eventually I switched over, and on the Instructable, there's two sets of code. So one does it that way, and the other, basically we designate one of the controllers as the master. Yeah. So yeah, as the controller. So
nice.
Yeah.
This is exciting for use in robotics, like you know, for a swarm.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's kind of why I was talking about it. Why I mentioned it is that, yeah, doing swarm robotics, you know, using a library like that. There's other shapes. You know, we just bought them from a company that sells them. So.
And that I just went to the OC Lights show at the fairgrounds in Costa Mesa, and I was wondering, they had, you know, 1 million lights, whatever, and they look kind of like the ones you have, and they had whole walls of animated sequences. Is this the these NeoPix or the yeah, the NeoPixels, or they kind of look like those.
Yeah, these are the waterproof versions of it. Yeah, so it's called a WS2811 is the controller chip, and then there's I'm not sure what the LEDs are that they use in there, but if you get like the NeoPixels in the strips, yeah, it's the WS2811 plus a 5050 chip, an RGB chip, and the WS2812B chips, the NeoPixels, use the same controller chip, plus they merge the LED chip with it, and those are what you see commonly in the strips and things. So this format is popular because it's waterproof and they're separated by about 3 inches, so it's great for those kind of displays. So yeah, they're really popular, and like I said, with the shapes, you know, there's a company that sells them that they have all kinds of shapes. So this is one that's 50 LEDs, and you know, I got candy canes, they had trees and things. So yeah, so they're very popular, those LEDs. So.
Ah, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I might want to do something with those.
Yeah, I was emailing Brian Erickson, who's in the Robot Club, doesn't do the calls as much, but he saw my presentation last year and LEDs, and he's done his tree and his house and everything. And what he did was since the Wi-Fi is there, he did it more IoT, and basically they all connect to a network time sync to synchronize. But that's because it was all in his own house.
Very nice.
You could sync with music just as easily and have one of those full-on houses with. I didn't see one this year. I kind of regret, but those are very entertaining.
Yeah, they're crazy because, you know, synchronizing the music it's a whole other world. So
that's even harder. I mean, but that's a great project. I don't know, for those who want.
Why don't I move on here to the next one? And this one I didn't customize at all. I just wanted to show it real quick. I posted a link. This guy, Sebastian Coddington, lives in France, I believe. I'm not quite sure about that, but in Toulouse, there's racing competitions.
I want one.
Yeah, so I just got a 3D printer this year finally, and I saw this on Thingiverse. And I'm like, oh, that looks cool. Let me build one. So, so he has an Instructable also on the building of it. So, so basically, I printed out 3D printed all the parts, ordered all the the servo. So there's 2 servos per leg. They're mini servos. He's using lithium-ion batteries, which I'm not too happy about, but I ended up buying more of those that don't have BM's the battery management in them, but it's a good voltage for running servos. And then he has a board that he uses that has connectors for the NRF24L01. It's a 2.4 gigahertz radio frequency. He put an ultrasound module on the front, but he's not using it, and he put an IMU on it, and he's not using that either in the code that he put in Instructable. So I really haven't had a chance to do anything more than that. But his demos.
What's the name of this robot?
He called it the Gorilla Bot.
Oh, that's the Gorilla. Okay.
Yeah, and there's some others that are of this ilk. I just happened to come across this one. So
how long did it take you to print it?
I'm gonna say a few days. It's been I printed it like months ago, and then I sort of started gathering all the parts from AliExpress and put it together. So nice things about the design, all of the plastic parts are kind of clipped in. He made little nice plastic clips and all that, so it was a really good design, I thought. And then he had some really nice screws, a 2mm metric, the flange head to hold the boards down and all that. So there were only a few screws and basically just to hold the electronics down. So it went together really easily. Like I said, all the plastic parts, you actually print clips to hold them together. So. I can show you quick the one I built. So this is his demo video, and all the build instructions are here. So.
Seems like a cool project for.
Yeah, and like I said, I just built it just a few days ago, and so I really.
Quadruped.
Yeah. And it's funny because I'm almost always only print in PETG, and I really should.
Is this yours?
Yeah, this is mine. Yeah, and when I first printed it, so my printer, the Z-axis is a little short, and so it was really wobbly and would just topple over. So what I did was I ended up printing. You see the red ones here, and I replaced all the pins that hold it together are red. Those are the new ones. I just made them thicker. And like a lot of those like card models that you can get, that made a big difference. It was a lot stiffer. So the first one just toppled right over. So. And so it's, like I said, I haven't changed the code. Here it is running on carpet. So it looks pretty well too.
Is this through a remote control?
Yeah. So one of the cool things on that Instructable is that he has a link to a remote control, and he found a joystick that also has pins for that NRF24L01 module. So you just plug the module right in, and you can 3D print the case if you want. So, yeah. So the remote control and the robot all go together, and like I said, I haven't had a chance to customize the code at all, but it all just works.
Is it just what kind of remote? It's a joystick like you can get that has a little plug-in module.
Yeah. I'll show a picture of that in just a minute. I tried it in grass today. I was talking to Steve again, and we're doing some agricultural robotics. Yeah, grass doesn't work so good.
Can it trot? Like at some point have all 4 legs in the air at once?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, there's a certain amount of weight to it. I haven't done enough experimenting to see what is possible. I would guess it would be just based on seeing what I've seen.
I would love to see it trot like a horse. You'd have to do a test to see if it's actually airborne.
Yeah. On his demo, on the demo video, he basically has, like forward and backward, and then he has this sort of demo mode. Yeah, here it is. So we'll see if he does a trot motion in this little demo. Yeah, not really. Okay. Yeah, it's possible. It's a little wobbly. I mean, this is not, not what I would call the most advanced sort of version of this thing that you could think of. But it was fun to build. Quick to print.
That's why animals trot, is to keep themselves level.
Yeah. Interesting. Right. Yeah, so you could do a lot. Like I said, I haven't had a chance to customize it all, and it was very straightforward.
I guess what I mean is actually run. That would be
Yes.
run. A trot, I think they still have contact with the ground at all times.
Yep, excuse me for interrupting here, but for the sake of time,
Just moving.
yes, we need to continue on. Very great presentation. I enjoyed that. It's very informative. I hope everybody found it informative. So, sorry for cutting off like that, people, but definitely we need to move on to sort of fit the other guys in, give them a fair amount of time, and we're having some background somewhere, some noise. But anyhow,
Possibly feedback. Yeah, maybe everybody mute who's not.
That's somebody's headphones or speaker.
Somebody's open, but we're moving on to Jim.
Okay.
Jim, you'd be up next, and then after you, it will be Walter and then Mitch. So
Thomas,
It's actually together, yeah.
okay.
All right.
You
Yeah,
have
so
the floor, Jim.
thank you. I have a couple things to show. First is also a toy I got. Well, let me just, this is what it looks like. These are little ninja bots, and they're kind of, and so I just record, I record all my demos now, at least just to make it go quickly and not, you know, if I have the chance, although it does take more time to record them and get them right, but saves time here. So here I'll show,
I like those minion-like sounds.
Complete with sound effects.
Can you hear the sound?
Yes.
Yeah, those are cool.
Let's see, he celebrates.
Wow.
Those are totally fun.
Yeah, it's so hilarious. The video doesn't quite even give them full, you know, justice or whatever, because they're very funny. Here's another. They're a little slow in their processor sometimes.
Are they autonomous?
Yeah, yeah, completely.
Cool.
What's cool is they have like, I mean, they have these little IR sensors. That's their main. That's their way they can see each other. And also your shot, you can see the IR sensors there on his belly. And
How
that's
much are those? I'm just curious, sorry.
Oh, the price? I don't know. My wife got them. I don't think they were very much. They're not. The company, it says Spin Master Limited on the bottom, but I'm not sure if that's like just the holding company. But I don't think they're very expensive. My wife, I wouldn't, you know, I don't think she would spend that much on them.
Looks like they're on Amazon for $25.93. So I don't think they're, yeah.
Ninja Bot, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, here they are. Oh yeah, they are called Spin Master. Not that, that's not it. Whoops. Is that, that's not
I can
it.
see a competition coming up here.
Yeah. Hilarious battling robots. Yeah, there they are. They are really funny. Oh, and what's incredible is you can plug in these different weapons, and they know when you're plugging them in. There's actually there's a chip in each of these weapons, and it knows, and it will play sounds like, you've given me the tennis racket. Anyway, but the
Wow.
audio, I mean, what's kind of, it's impressive to me is that, you know, we play with small microcontrollers and infrared, although I haven't played with infrared much, but we do play with infrared sensors. And, you know, this is a really complex thing to do as if you wanted to do it as a hobby. I mean, all the sounds, and it's incredible. I mean, amount of work probably to do that even at the hobby level. So anyway, but and then they even level up. They have a color of the, like, that's the color of the eyes here. The light behind him will level up, will show you what kind of belt he has, like yellow belt or, you know, blue belt. And as you play more, they will level up and say you have opened, you know, unlocked new whatever moves, and then so they'll have new moves. So there's a lot of programming in there, and a lot of sounds. And I mean, you know, I'm not deciding to break it open yet or do a breakdown, but I wonder how they did all that, honestly. Maybe I'll read more about, obviously there's probably some info. So the other thing I wanted to show is been working on my big orange robot, and I just recently added some code to do relative motion. So I want to just be able to say, go forward 1 meter, go backward, go forward at 45 degrees, for instance, go right 1 meter, so it will turn right. And it does this by just using some trigonometry. You got to use some trigonometry and find the location, essentially find an XY location based on your current XY and pose and heading, essentially pose, or yaw, and heading, and then tell the robot go to this point, and then it uses its full navigation system to go to that point. So all I have to do is compute the point, and then the rest is done through the system.
Orange, go backward 1 meter.
So it'll turn around. It doesn't actually use the back motor. I didn't care about that, but or not in this case.
Orange, go backward at 45
I don't think
degrees.
this one worked.
Go backward 1 meter at 45 degrees.
Actually, at this case, I don't think it did the 45 because I set it in the wrong order. This is a case where I do really need a, you know, the kind of AIML type of, you know, parsing so I can say things in different orders, in different.
Go forward at orange. Go forward at 45 degrees 1 meter.
So here you can see it's angled at.
Orange, go forward at 45.
Of course, it doesn't hear you a lot of times. That's a problem, but. So yeah, it was angled at 45, so it corrected that, and then, yeah, it basically went straight. Now its final angle I don't specify. Its final angle, it's whatever it felt like doing. And here, let's see, this is the right.
Orange, go right 2 meters.
Now in this case, that 2 meters was right into a cabinet, so the robot kind of had to go around it. So you can see it's using its obstacle avoidance and its path planning, just like everything else I do with this thing.
Orange, go backward 1 meter at 45 degrees.
See, I said it wrong there anyway.
Orange, go backward 2 meters.
And you can see that it wasn't pointed directly back. The length of the room was actually at an offset, so it's trying to go into the desk. But that's, yeah, you could have corrected that if you know your angles.
Orange. Go backward. 1
No, that's the
meter.
end of that one. But what was kind of interesting about this is parsing, and I guess I can try to connect here. Let's see. Now, when you say these words, the robot will, or the parser, the Google, we use Google speech recognition, and it will sometimes come back with the word, like the word 3M for 3 meters. So I had to, and sometimes it will say the words 3 meters. And so it's kind of, it varies. Oh, I guess I closed that window. But if you look at some of this code I did here for, is this going to zoom in? Oh, there we go. Is it getting bigger? So it's kind of a fair amount of code. Like here's the go forward, go backward, go right, go left. And then so it's some cool, obviously one of the really important things in Python is the split function to split the phrase into words. That one is quite important, really critical. And then there's a word to number converter, but sometimes when Google sends you back, they'll give you the actual number or a word for the number, like ONE for 1 instead of 1. And then you have to use these try-ex. So if the word, if it's not really a string word, then the first thing fails, and then you have to try another one. That's why you use these try except blocks. So that's how I do that. And sometimes when you say go 2 meters, it says, it comes back with the word TO, or 4 meters, it says FOR. So that's the parser. I mean, that's the Google speech. And then this is something I kind of recommend if you're interested. I just discovered this format string in Python. So you can, if you get something back that is like a formatted string, like in this case, it tells me go forward 3M. So you need to pull out the 3 from the M, and that's what this does. This little format string is a combined, meaning a number followed by some string. And then if it succeeds, in this case, the distance 3 would be in the first element of the parsed, and this uses the parse library. And then the second would be in the unit in the the second element would be the unit, like meters, M. Anyway, so and then you can say centimeters, inches, yards, and do the math, and then the basic trigonometry. So but that's basically it. Anybody have, while I have this up, anybody have questions about that?
I do. Oh,
Yeah.
what's it used for?
Well, I mean, the robot, my big orange robot is designed as, I'm trying to make it into a personal assistant, really, ultimately. So these are fundamental operations to get it to go places that you want it to. I can say go to kitchen, go to whatever, go to different rooms. And then sometimes though you might want to just move, I want it to go forward or move relative to where it is. But essentially this whole robot is designed to do, it's going to ultimately try to do tasks. I mean, it has no way to, it has no arms or anything at this point. So you know, in the near future, I want it to at least be able to follow me, or say, deliver something. Someone puts something on it and it goes to another room and delivers it, you know, that, a cup holder. That's the, but basically personal assistant. Does that answer?
Yeah, that's why I was thinking it's pretty cool because I think with robotics the next step is probably personal assistance robots, but no one really works on them, so it's really cool that you're doing that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, a lot of companies have tried and they go out of business like every year trying to do it. It's an extremely difficult problem, but I find it kind of fun. I mean, that's the, you know, it's fun if you're doing it as a hobby.
Yes,
But yeah,
as a hobby.
yeah, I mean, it's can be struggle too, you know, like your Python is crashing, or you know, another thing is it's kind of, you know, you want to run these pieces of code isolated so that you can test just that one little part, because running the whole thing is just, it's too slow. And so you want to clip out this code. And I'm sort of trying to figure out a good way to do that in like the Spider editor or whatever. But just working on that, I was able to do that reasonably well, cut a piece of code and then paste it in, and then be able to edit it in a live sort of cell, what they call a cell. Anyway, but so I'm getting more used to that, developing in Python and testing, unit testing, because if you get it working completely, that without the robot involved, just as code, then when you move it to the robot, you'll save a lot of time.
That would be the great idea, to do it that way. But I've noticed when I do it with my robots, I find I'm sort of doing it on board the robot rather than sort of separating, and I find I'm sort of doing it on the fly. So I don't.
Yeah. Well, I do too, but in this case, it's like there's, you know, a few thousand lines of code for that to run the whole robot, and I'm like, I can just cut out this little piece and set the string up manually in like this, yeah, just a Python terminal, or what do they call it? Basically a Python interactive session, and by that, and it works pretty well. That you can, you know, you can cut a whole cell of code and rerun it many times. And anyway, but sometimes you have to change a little bit in there because the other, you know, you don't have access to something that your real code does. But I highly recommend doing that cell sort of work, cell editing, and working just with a piece of code. And because yeah, I don't know, I'm a software engineer, so everything to save time is worth it, honestly.
You seem to be doing it like the opposite. Sorry, Forrest.
No worries.
Usually what they do with like parsing, because I've been working on some parsing too, is I remember in the movies they do everything at one time, and then there's these little bits that are off with the robot. But you're doing the opposite, where you get one thing that works and then build on that, which is kind of cool how it's the opposite. But I think it's better because it's less to work with, like you said.
Yeah. Oh, you mean like doing specific cases? Yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm not sure I understand how it's the opposite, but you mean
Because like parsing's usually where it's like a lot of stuff because you're trying to do a lot at one time. So you're going through everything, but it's like a system and it doesn't apply to every single situation. So the situations that are an exception, you have to do those manually. But you're doing the opposite where you're doing like a little bit at a time manually for those exceptions first. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not, I haven't, you know, studied parsing lately as far as, you know, doing it you know, the best way. But, you know, the way this works is you know, you can see here in this code, it's not that smart in its parsing system. It just looks for phrases, you know, like whole commands, like, for instance, what's your name? you know, who are you with? What time is it? Go home, go recharge, then, and then I'm sort of splitting. Once I split the string, then I just sort of parse through, and yeah, I'm trying different things. This code just evolved as I was running it and seeing errors, you know, that come up, like, oh, sometimes this is going to fail because it's not you know, it's not a word as the number. And then, okay, well, if that happens, then it probably is a real number. So then the second case works. But yeah, it's anyway.
Yeah. Well, excuse me for interrupting here, but
yeah, I'm all done.
Okay, but thank you for the presentation. Definitely wonderful. I'd love to pick your brains because you're traveling on roads I'd like to travel on as far as the software and everything else. So, but moving along, we're going to Walter. Are you there, Walter? Hello, Walter?
Unmute. Yeah, it's gonna be myself and Mitch, but then I have something else I want to show after.
Right.
So,
okay, if we have time, because there's a limit, I suppose, but we'll push it. We'll work it.
Okay.
So it'll be you, Mitch, and then we'll finish up on Thomas. But and then we'll go back to you, Walter, and then we'll end with Thomas. If that sounds good.
Yeah. And what
right.
that's fine.
Okay. All right, you got the floor. Go ahead.
All right. So Mitch and I got invited to do a prop for a TV show called The Neighborhood.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mitch, in case you don't know me. I have a big robotic arm, an industrial one, and Walter found this gig, and we put our minds together, and we made it work. You want to show your pictures first, Walt?
Yeah. So what you see there, you can see me. We're at the CBS studio. This is part of the. Sorry, I got my phone here that I'm pointing at. This is part of the setup here that we got. It's a robot arm that Mitch worked on, and he created a controller for it, and he can talk more about that. This is the set, and here's Mitch programming it, and he's got a pretty cool interface. We can't tell you what the skit was, but it involves that robot arm in that TV show called The Neighborhood. It's going to come up in February, so we'll let you know so you can see it in action. So here's Mitch preparing for it. And needless to say, I'm the one who controls the interface that Mitch created in processing.
Excuse me for a second, Walter. We're getting feedback somewhere. At least I'm getting it. Is anybody else getting that?
I can tell.
Yeah,
it
we're
might be
getting
me.
feedback.
Check.
Okay. Go ahead.
No, it's probably me.
Oh, okay. Well.
So here we are in action, preparing for the skit. The directors were telling us what they wanted, so we were programming this thing, and it was funny because Mitch was just missing like one little thing on the program, and but we got it to work. But anyways, he can tell you a little bit more about it. This is the show. It's called The Neighborhood. And so we got a lot of cool photos. Mitch created this really cool interface that I learned how to use really quickly for the show. Here's a little bit more about the set. And here's the whole setup of what that looks like. It was really cool. A great experience, and Mitch can tell you a little bit more about it and what he did.
Yeah, I'll take over, I guess.
Go ahead.
You hear me?
Go ahead.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, I gotta share screen, so let's see. Just a sec. So this is the robot's arm, and it's a CRS-5. It's big. It reaches out about 60 centimeters. It weighs 37 pounds, and it's an industrial robot meant for the pharmaceutical industry, where it picks up different vials and chemicals and it mixes them and it puts them back in the fridge. And you can find a used one on eBay for about $1,000, which is a bargain for such a robot. Of course, the company will not support you with motors or anything. So I took it as a challenge a couple years back, to make a controller and write the software and an interface and have my own little robot arm. And the idea was to sell it to industries. I work for some plastic manufacturers and they're looking for solutions. But it's very finicky, as you probably know. Took me about a year to figure out the inverse kinematics, the motors, the interface, trigonometry and all that. So I'm gonna run a little bit this video of the robot moving. It can be pretty fast. Is it jerky for you guys?
Yeah, a little jerky.
Yeah. And I have a few pictures here. So this is the robot traveling to the movie studio in the back of my Volvo. Walter came, we put it in. That's the video set. Then again, the robot on the table. The actors were going to interact with it. I was happy to see that a sitcom would involve something intelligent. Sorry to say, a lot of them don't. Then it's Walter. Then it's me. Then couple actors. I was not supposed to show that. Then again, back to the video. I was wondering if I'm not an experienced Zoom user. Is there a way to just play a video file on Zoom and
just open it?
Yeah, the only thing you want to do is when you share the screen, you click those two buttons, share audio and optimize video. That's little check boxes when you first share.
Okay, so I'm back on share screen, right?
Yeah, click share screen, and then you'll see a window come up, and then in the bottom left, there's two check boxes, at least in normally.
Okay.
Also, click on full screen for whatever.
Yeah, and then you play the video. You're in your full screen. In
Okay,
fact,
I don't see the full screen. I see basically.
No, that's just you just maximize your window when you play the video. That's all I mean.
Yeah, play the video. No?
Play the video full screen, however you do that on a Mac.
You can right click usually on the screen in the middle of the video and it'll come up with an option for full screen, but that looks good.
Oh, this one doesn't.
That's a little better.
Yeah, it's not really doing full screen.
Yeah, I can play in quick time, but it seems that it's the Zoom is eating out a lot of resources. And let me see. File, open. Let me try.
If you press minus, you can press it a few times. It'll run in slow motion. Maybe we can see it move.
Isn't that the button there that shows a little monitor? Isn't that the full screen button to the right of the fast? I don't know.
Okay, let's see this. Let's see that. It's about the same. Yeah, so that was the gig. We attached the mechanical hand to the end effector, which I've never done before. We mechanized the 5 fingers. That was nice. And yeah, we're ready to take questions.
Well, how long did it take you to basically construct all that?
Well, we had a method, and it's based on waypoints, meaning there are 6 encoders in the robot, and I'm able to read the encoders, and then I go in C++. It's run by Arduino, it's run by a Tinsy. And I have a switch case scenario, and in the switch case, I say go to waypoint this, or next waypoint and next waypoint. And all that is connected to the tablet that Walter showed earlier. And the tablet talks to it through a Bluetooth connection, and that's how you tell it where to go. So once we have that done, it's not that, it doesn't take that much. I mean, we cannot program motion from the tablet, but we can hook it up to a laptop and go in Arduino IDE and make another waypoint the way they want it and go to it. So yeah, Walter has the interface.
Yeah. And this was done in processing, and yeah, so Mitch did a really good job. It even talks to tell you where it's going and all those things.
Nice.
Yeah, someone wrote a library that does voice in processing, and it's kind of slow. It can block it a little bit, but it's nice. It's easy. You just tell it what to say. The hardest part was the electronics. It's controlled by RoboClaw. Have you heard of RoboClaw? And probably a lot of you did. And it's a very nice product, but getting all the PID settings right for each motor, because we got inertia, there's a lot of mass moving, and you don't want it to get there too slow, but not too fast, because then you overshoot it. And the producers were a little disappointed with the speed you've seen. I've done that later after the show.
Yeah. It's pretty slow.
It's hard to make things move fast, for sure, you know, especially when they have mass, and especially when you want them to be precise. But what I discovered is that RoboClaw came up with a firmware upgrade, and they improved their PID algorithms a lot. And I was taking advantage of that. Now the algorithm seems to take into consideration the mass and the inertia of the motor and of the load, and it's stopping right on the dime at a much higher speed than before, which is kind of amazing. But that's what we all do. We take intelligent pieces from other people and modules, and we put them together, and we make our things work. And it gave me a lot of satisfaction and a lot of validation to be called by a studio and have something that I created, at least not the hardware, but the electronics and the programming, put it to work and be seen by millions of people out there. And it was great. Walter found the gig, and was a great collaboration. We got along great, and he really helped out a lot, and can hardly wait to do another one.
Oh yeah, and the cool thing was that the whole interface is it's Bluetooth, so we were hiding, controlling this thing remotely. So that worked out great. That you can control this thing from anywhere you want to.
That's right.
What was it like being on the studio with COVID restrictions and everything? What was your experience with that?
Oh,
we got tested every 2 days. Yeah.
Wow.
We had 3 tests. Yeah, we were tested every 2 days, and it's really very well organized.
That's good.
Yeah.
I got a question. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, what are you planning to do with the robot afterwards? Because I bet there's a lot of applications.
Well, right now I'm still improving. I'm working on various grips. There's a plastics factory that's looking to automate the process, and eventually I'll take it there and lease it to them, and the robot arm is gonna pick up different plastic parts and eliminate manual labor. Eventually, I'm not sure I want to do it because it's so finicky. On the other hand, I get a lot of satisfaction if my work goes to some practical purpose and it solves a real life problem. The other ideas I have, I also like to paint and draw, and I was thinking to make something interesting, like the robot would sculpt or would have some additive artistic 3D-dimensional thing where he would just drop molten plastic or who knows, wax, or and also introduce a random factor in that, so there is creativity coming from the computer science world, from the black hole that nobody knows what happens. And maybe I'll do something like that. I'm fascinated with the merge of the contemporary art and technology. And it's still something brewing inside my head, so.
When does this one air? Or how many, is it in just one episode or more?
One episode, it airs in February, but we don't know the exact episode yet.
Okay, yeah, because the website doesn't really show next year's.
Yeah, it will be in February.
February, yeah, I haven't watched the show, but it's on CBS, and so it's on regular free
Channel
TV.
2, 8 p.m. on Mondays. I actually watched it for 3 years. I know the show.
Oh, yeah?
Right.
Yeah.
I never, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Now, being on set for a sitcom versus a police show is very different. And the whole preparation on the sitcom, they change the screenplay on you over and over and over. They improvise,
Yeah.
they laugh, they're relaxed.
Oh, yeah.
When I participated on SWAT with the police robot, they were very strict to the script. They told me exactly what they wanted. When I got there, that's exactly what they demanded from me. And was kind of easier, but wasn't as much fun, right? So, right, well.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yes.
It was a great experience. You know, it's always a great experience to work on sitcoms. I've done a few before.
Oh, coolness. Any more questions for these gentlemen?
And Forrest, what I have to show, it only takes 1 minute.
Yeah, well, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, and then we'll go over to Thomas.
All right, so I'm gonna share my screen.
All righty.
Can you see it?
Yes.
All right, so lately I've been working more on art pieces, and this is a little bit of what that looks like. I don't know if you can see the screen. So these are all based on the Mandalorian TV show for Star Wars. And I'm just making more like sculpture looking things. I've mechanized a few things, but not a lot. And so I've been more, not talking about art, Mitch paints. I'm more like a visual. I'm liking the visual art, especially the painting, those kinds of things. So here's another one I just finished. It's all 3D printed, by the way.
That's
it's
nice.
All fun. Let's see if I have another one here. 3D painted, all fun. And I'm just gonna show one more. All 3D printed.
That looks awesome.
Wow, that's.
Yep, that's it. Just wanted to quickly show you some of the art pieces I've been working on. Some of it is mechanized, but not everything. That's it.
Yeah. Next, we have to mechanize them.
That's right.
Yep, next step. Well, we will move on to Thomas, and we'll close it out with you Thomas, as far as presenting.
All right, thank you. So let me just get my camera on here. Somebody's got their microphones on. Can everyone check and make sure? The feedback is kind of messing me up. Okay, thank you. Got two things to show you. They're both videos. Just a second here. And Forrest is going, hurry up, hurry up. So I've been working on my Simone project. It's a group project. Forrest is actually involved in this, and we'll show some more another time. I've been working with the Elvis robot, which a lot of you know about and have seen. And the question was, could I successfully put a rubber mask over an Elvis and make it look different? And the answer was, well, I'm almost there. So let me show you this first video. I need to adjust my video here, video settings, right? For adjust, help me out here, Alan. How do I adjust it so I make sure the video looks good?
Just click that box
check box at the bottom.
when you share. Click the
When I share, okay. I thought
full
there was-
screen optimization box.
Sure.
I'm hoping.
Okay, hold on, here we go. Okay, let's.
I'm not seeing your video.
You're not sharing video.
I know I'm not sharing the video. I just wanted to open the screen and then it started playing because it's playing in VC video, VLC media. Okay, gonna try it again. And share screen, optimize for sharing video clip, share. There we go, and share it. Okay, you guys see the screen?
Yep.
This is on my YouTube channel for those of you who want to see more of it. But now this is the Elvis. This is Elvis Alive. And I've hacked into him, running it off of the Easy Robot board here. I'm individually controlling each of the motors. And I've done this before. It's just doing a little bit differently this time. That sound you hear in the background, that's the neck motor moving, but it wasn't attached, so it just kind of ran. So this is with the mask on it. This is a woman's face here. Nothing's glued down, it's just pulled over the top of the Elvis Alive. I just wanted to see how it would move, how it would look. Of course, the next step is to glue down the eyelids and the chin. It won't be able to smile, but it will be able to talk. And I replaced the eyes, so yeah, this is what's on my YouTube channel. Any questions about that? I have a second video to show. If not, I'll just move right along.
Oh, Thomas, where did you get the skin? The skin looks awesome on the girl.
Ah, the skin. Yes, the skin came from, oh, what was it? Amazon.com. Where's that one from? You can also get them from eBay, and you can get them from Alibaba. The cheapest one, I don't know. The prices have been coming down as they start competing, and yeah, I didn't know it was there until one day it popped up when I was searching for hands. I wanted a silicone hand, and then this face popped up. I said, ooh, I know where that's going. So here's my second bit. Any other questions before we move on? Okay, we'll move. No, Britt says no. I see that. Thank you, Britt. I'm going to share the screen again. And this is a video that I made over Christmas. And some of you've seen it already, so for those of you who haven't, here it is. See the screen?
Yep.
Santa baby, just slip on it along the light for me. Spinning off on the blue. Santa baby, so hurry up, loving me tonight. Santa baby, after all we can learn about two, like blue. And wait up for you, Santa baby, so hurry up, loving me tonight. Think I won't, the banner I've missed. Think I won't, the famous dance I never kissed. Mr. I could be all so good. If you check off my Christmas list. Santa honey, I want a yacht and really let's know I'm not being an angel on you. Santa baby, and hurry up, loving you tonight. Santa honey, what is something that I really need? That need to a point in my mind. Santa baby, so hurry up, loving you tonight. Santa beauty, and fill my pocket with a duplex and checks. Sign your ex on the line. Santa beauty, and hurry up, loving you tonight. Come and bring my Christmas tree with some decorations for that Tiffany. I really do believe in you. Let's see if you believe in me. Santa baby, forgot to mention one little thing. The ring. I don't mean on my phone. Santa baby, so hurry down, loving you tonight. Hurry down, loving you tonight. Hurry down, loving you tonight. Hurry.
Yeah, it's a little late. I finish it after Christmas. All right, any questions?
That was done pretty good, Thomas. I like that.
All right, hello there. You made it.
Better late than never.
I had the question, I typed it. Like, what's the software?
The software is Easy Robot, otherwise known as ARC. A-R-C, ARC.
Okay, cool. Because
Oh,
I was trying to do this like the other day, like write out some lyrics and then get the computer to sing for it. The most I got found was like melobytes, but which is really cool. But this sounds a lot better.
Yeah, it's not that hard. If you want, I can show you, Britt. It's pretty easy. Just
Yeah,
email
yes,
me.
please.
I can show you how to get it going on your robot.
Yeah, cool.
Any other questions? All right, then turn it back over to Forrest.
Yeah, you're muted, Forrest. Forrest, you're muted. Your mic is muted.
Thanks. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Just wanted to stop the unwanted noise. Anyhow, thank you, everyone. Definitely. If we have maybe, do we have 2 more minutes, maybe? Less than that? Can we spare 2 more minutes, Tim? All right, let me see. I'm going to try my own screen share for a second because I wanted to show something. If I can do it, fine. If not, but let's see if I can find what I'm looking for here. So, well, let's see. Let's go. No, it's not going to work. I should have had it set up before. I'm not going to go through that. But for next time, I'll start off and I'll show up for you guys. But in the meantime, definitely want to thank everybody from
Wait. Can I present? I got something cool.
We're out of time,
It's
but
a few seconds, a few minutes.
What's
If
the
it's
word,
okay.
Tim?
you can do it next time.
Okay.
Okay. Next time it is. So we're basically out of time. So until next time, everybody, from the Robotics Society of Southern California. See, I got it finally there. And the Riverside Robotics Society and the Tech Room and the Homebrew Robotics Group. Did I say it correctly? Got everybody? So, and for all the participants in there and for all the people who came and presented, I want to thank everyone for taking the time out to make the presentations and for all those who were sitting there and watching. So definitely have a good evening. Enjoy your meals and enjoy your loved ones. Stay safe and be well. And we will talk with everyone a little bit later on. So this is me signing off to you guys. And we will see you in the next meeting, which will be the fourth Friday this month. So
Thank you, Forrest.
you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Be well, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen.
Same here.
Stay safe.